All right. I'm Carol Calvert, the brand ambassador for Faces of Silver. Faces of Silver is a vision and a creation of Ben Winkler Photography. Ben is a renowned photographer from Europe who actually lives in the States, and he travels the world with his photography. So it has become a movement, Faces of Silver. It's become a community. And now it is a first edition coffee table book. And April Grant, is one of the very first Faces of Silver. April, thank you for being on our channel today.
Glad to be here.
I am so glad. Oh, beautiful. So it says restart streaming. Hold on. Okay, let's give it a minute. Got to get on Facebook for. Are you there?
What's that?
Okay, okay. So hopefully we are on Facebook. So April Grant is on page 21 and 22, a full double page spread, beautiful. And I have to read this. So Ben Winkler writes, April Grant, through April's shoot, we discover that demeanor and a desire for expression can result in silver mystique. Ben Winkler. Silver mystique. Do you remember that day? Do you remember how silver mystique became a part of the conversation?
We shot 2 different days. Both days were in Key Largo, and it was great. The one day was shot. I don't know if a lot of people know, but Key Largo is like an archipelago. So there's the ocean side on one side, the bay side on the other side. It's just at the dangly tip of Florida. So one day we were on the bay side, and we were behind an old public library, and took some pictures there. And he just has a really, really great energy about him and a great spirit. And he can really draw out uh, your passion and your energy and what you want to portray to the camera. And the second day that we were filming was the opposite side, which was the ocean side, also in Key Largo. And we worked at a condo, a place where my friend lives, and different outfits, different feelings that day, and the same type of thing. What we portrayed transferred right over through the camera lens, and it was a pleasure working with Ben. And he's got a great eye, and super great to work with him.
So, April, do you remember hearing about Faces of Silver before meeting Ben?
I do, and I was thinking about where I heard of Ben, and I think it must have been Facebook, and I want to say in 2017.
2015?
I think it was in the spring of 2017.
Yeah.
Um, and I I think I found him on Facebook because at the time I was going through my transition from blonde hair to gray hair,
You
and
were actually going through your transition then.
yeah, I'm just finished, and it took me about 4 years. And so I was on Facebook, and I was gleaming as much information as I could, and I was looking for women kind of in the same boat as me that were having issues with their roots, and this is driving me crazy. Do I want to really do this? Um, and I'm glad I stuck it out because I've met some amazing women,
Were
and
you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've made some great friends, and that's where I met Ben, and saw that he had this photography project, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it's been great. It's been great ever since, and he does some wonderful work. I highly recommend any woman who is maybe feeling maybe not, or is maybe questioning how beautiful she is, because she's truly beautiful, but maybe inside she has, I don't know. Work with Ben. Um,
Now you're a
Hopefully
model.
can bring it out of you.
He'll bring it out.
I am.
You're a model. Were you a model before this?
I was a model in New York City in the mid 80s.
Oh,
I
okay.
was very young. Um, and throughout my life, I kind of put that on the back burner, and I've worked as a travel agent for the last 20 something years. Um, until the last couple of years, where I've seen beautiful women with gray hair that look like me.
So I have to ask you, you started modeling again after working
I
with
did.
Ben? Is
You know, it was after seeing my peers
yeah.
and in the pages of magazines and on TV. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring again and see what happens.
So
And ahead.
no, no, no. You go ahead.
Um, so it's been interesting because I do modeling and acting. Unfortunately, in South Florida, there's not a lot of modeling jobs. Well, I take it back. There are. There's not a lot of runway work, is what I'm finding for women who look like me.
I got to stop there for a minute. How tall are you?
5'11".
Your hair, your physique, you're beautiful. I got to stop for a minute and tell the listeners. In July of this past year, we were asked to exhibit the photography from the Faces of Silver first edition book, of which you are in the book. And Ben selected 6 of the photos for that event. And you came, and so did Sabrina from California. But you came, and you walk in, and you have on a maxi dress in floral. Oh my gosh! And you just flowed. Now we were on a huge terrace room, 18 floors above Charlotte, and
That was a lot of fun.
and you smiled, and I knew it was you, obviously, and you said, everybody knows me, but people had been looking at the wall of photography. They saw you, and then they saw
Yeah.
you from the entrance all the way there to where I
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was beautiful.
That was a lot of fun. It was good to meet you. It was good to meet Sabrina. Um, it was a really great day.
It really, really was. So I want to get into you, if we can, for a little bit. You mentioned that you had modeled early on in your life. And then you mentioned you in South Florida, you've been doing uh, um, uh, uh, travel bookings and travel agent. And that in the last few years, coupled with all of this information that we got on social media around um, what you already were being and showing, was the beauty of the gray, of the silver, um,
Yeah.
as a real attribute for modeling, for acting. Um,
Yeah.
when you're pulling all this together, and of course meeting, I mean, there's so many ways online to meet such incredible people doing what you're doing, women, or those who want to sponsor and make it happen. Um, did you see a community happening?
Definitely in South Florida, and I mean Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and perhaps uh, as far north as Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Um, there are, as I speak for myself and my peers who do the same thing as I do, there's work down here for us. A lot of us see each other at castings. What I'm seeing personally, the challenge that I see is runway, lack of diversity in runway, and also,
I can barely hear you.
oh, sorry.
Hey, now I can.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of women who look like me on the runway, which I find a little ironic because I know a major department store here in Miami has a runway show for their fur salon. And, I don't know a lot about demographics, but it seems to me that the women that have the ability to buy these furs that are very expensive would be a woman my age. So you would think that that would be who you would want to see wearing this
So,
fur.
so maybe you are creating
That would be,
yourself,
yeah,
creating creating the runway for gray silver hair in Miami, Fort Lauderdale,
yeah.
Boca.
That would be fantastic.
Tell us about you in the recent, um, let me get this right, Seminole Hard Rock Cafe event. Oh my gosh. After, we will post this photo of you.
It was it was a project runway combined with Pride Fort Lauderdale.
Right?
So it was Pride Week here in Fort Lauderdale, which there's always stuff going on during Pride Week. It's fantastic. And there were designers from Project Runway. And fortunately, I was able to walk for 3 of the designers. And it was fantastic. It was Ray Ortiz, Danny Gwen, and Danny Esquivel. And the dresses were amazing. It was a night that I won't soon forget. I think that the white dress maybe you're speaking of was incredible. It weighed 15 pounds. It was massive. And when I walked out wearing that dress, um, the crowd went wild.
They did? Tell me what happened.
It was, it was really something. And I think I was definitely the only gray-haired female model, and I believe I was the oldest female model, which was great, which was amazing. And to be put in such such a dress was unbelievable. I did a little bit of legwork when I found out who I was walking for, and I saw that dress on his on Danny Gwen's website, and I said, "Holy cow! Look at that! That's incredible!" And it turns out that was the dress that I was put in.
What manifesting?
No kidding. And
what was it made of?
Yeah, just pounds and pounds and pounds of fabric and sequins and beading, and it was like a giant cupcake. It was incredible, and boy, did it weigh a lot. But it was a pleasure to wear it, and I had to do it justice. And
you did.
I had shoulders, so I wasn't able to work it too well, but I did my best, and I think I did pretty good. But that was a night that I won't soon forget.
Okay, I can't hear you.
It was a great night, and just all the people after the show. I was walking to my car that night, and people would stop me and say, "Oh my God, you were fantastic! I love that dress," and it was incredible. It was such a great night, and I think people appreciated the fact that I was out there doing my thing, and I was a sexy silver, and I had these amazing dresses on, and it was a great night. And they've contacted me from Pride, and they said, we definitely want you on board for Pride next year.
That's
and
awesome.
I
a year in advance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're over 50?
I am. I'm 55, double nickels.
Wow, so awesome. You do not look it. And I think about it, you mentioned earlier how it's not happening in your area with the silver gray, but yet it is. You just described it. You are happening down there. What you did was all over social media. I think there were some personal videos as well as some corporate fashion photographer videos of what you did.
Yeah.
And they've already
yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. What I'd love to see down here is more diversity on the runway. I went to a fashion show today. It was at Macy's. It was just a small, little new spring stuff at Macy's. And there was some diversity. There was an older woman, maybe in her early to mid 40s. And there was another woman there who was plus size. And I said, you know what, kudos to them, because maybe they're starting to get it. And maybe next time I'll see someone who looks like me on the runway, or better yet, maybe next time it'll be me.
How does it feel
on runway
to be the trendsetter in the area?
Oh, I don't know about that. I just want to kind of light a fire and say, hey, women, and I use the fur salon. If you put a beautiful woman who's 24 in a $30,000 fur, And your target audience for that product is a woman who is my age and looks like me,
Yeah.
more likely to envision someone who looks like me in the fur.
Well, you're definitely turning on the consciousness down there. I can feel it.
Um,
I
so
can
we'll
feel it.
see. We'll see.
So, in terms of testimony, now you just gave some beautiful testimony early on uh, in this interview. After thinking back now to your experience with Ben and thinking about the things that have happened from there till now, you know, that we were talking about, how you are definitely the silver mystique. That's what Ben wrote about you, and you're doing it in your area. I love it. Is there anything? I pride myself in getting as many testimonies on that www.facesofsilver.com testimony
Right.
page. Is there anything you'd like to add?
You know, if you have the opportunity um, to work with Ben, you know, by all means, seize that opportunity. Um, the work is his work is beautiful, and he does have a great spirit, and he can put you at ease in just a second of a moment.
That's
Um, yeah, you know, some photographers are awkward and gawky and Ben is the opposite. He just has a very gentle spirit about him.
Thank you. So one last thing I'd like to share. So April 26th through 28th, Ben is going to be in your area. He's going to be in Miami. April 26th is an exhibition, photography exhibition night. So women who are graying or gray get to be a part of the Faces of Silver 2 that Ben is creating with this beginning spring tour 2019. And then the rest of the weekend, the 27th and 28th, midlife and up, and any hair color. Ben will be doing full beauty sessions throughout the rest of the weekend. And you can find out more about these several different places. Carol Lovell Calvert on Facebook, Ben Winkler, or either Ben Winkler Photography on Facebook, benwinkler.com, and facesofsilver.com/events. So you've got a lot of different places to get to it. Again, I am honored to get to hear the rest of your story. I didn't know all that you're telling me, and it's beautiful. One of the things that Ben and I talked about is that we had to have a way beyond creating the movement in the community, was also to create a place where we can celebrate April and her peers who are working with Ben with the Faces of Silver, and we can celebrate here. How does it feel to get celebrated and it's not your birthday?
I think it's fantastic. I can't wait. I hope to see you. I hope you're able to make it.
I do too. I hope so. And April, one last question.
Yep.
I noticed, I'm analytical. I noticed on your tags you put New York, not hope, but New York goals, New York. Is that something that you're working towards, is to go again and do your work in New York?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I would love to do that next year, 2020.
You're a manifester. I am honored. Can't wait to see it happen.
Hey.
April, thank you so much, and thank you for taking your computer outside and being in nature with us. You know, that is something. Ben, with his photography, a lot of it is outside because the natural is what matters to him,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you're keeping with that thing. Thank you again, April.
Thanks, Carol.